This edition of MacVoices is supported by Take Control Books, the answers you need now from leading experts. Visit takecontrolbooks.com to find out what you can learn. Well, speaking of giving people what they want, Jim brought one to us. And Jim, I'm going to let you address this. CarPlay is the driving force deciding the choice between two nearly identical cars.
Oh my gosh, I forgot I even submitted that. Right. Well, the Honda Prologue is basically a Chevy Equinox with a Honda badge on it. But Honda puts CarPlay in it, and Chevy GM doesn't. So there's kind of been an experiment, essentially, that between these two cars, and one of the biggest differentiators is one has CarPlay and the other one doesn't. But it's the same engine, same battery, same suspension. Everything else is pretty much the same. So although of course, one comes from Honda dealers and one comes from GM dealers, so that may be a differentiator. But anyway, the Honda one with CarPlay has been significantly outselling the GM one. So I don't know. Certainly the person with this article thinks that well, maybe some people were looking at these two cars and like, oh, I want CarPlay, so I'll buy the identical version that has CarPlay. I'm sure there's some of that. I wonder, even though I submitted this article, I wonder, like, how many Honda customers even realize that they're buying a GM car. I bet a lot of them don't. But anyway,
Jim,
I mean, it is, one's got CarPlay and it sold more. Interesting thing is Honda is now discontinuing it. So,
yeah. The one thing in the article, because I also found another article that I had already picked up. I know you submitted yours. I think the article you submitted failed to mention that the GM option. Let's see, do I have that right? Yeah, the GM option was, I think, 11% more expensive. So whether that had anything to do with anything or not, you would think that would drive people to the Honda. But also, I'm like you, Jim. I wonder if I'm shopping for a Honda, I'm at the Honda dealership. I'm not looking at where the car came from. Same thing if I'm shopping at GM, I'm not necessarily looking over at a Honda version. So, well, I don't know.
For myself, I disagree. I think if I was actually purchasing one of these cars, I think I would do enough research to find out that, oh my gosh, this Honda was manufactured at a GM factory. But I do agree with you that most customers probably aren't doing that. But at any rate, it could have been the opposite. The CarPlay's car sold less. It didn't. So certainly CarPlay did not hurt it. And I do know at one time I met somebody from a salesman at a Chevy dealership. I met him at an EV event, and we had a long conversation. And turns out he was a Tesla owner. And I said, what do you do with your Tesla when you're working? He's like, yeah, I got to park it around the back. But he said that he told me that lack of CarPlay was the number one objection he heard from potential customers.
Interesting.
Look at the numbers. Yeah. Look at the numbers that are in this article. I mean, you got 43% outsold the Prologue over the Blazer, and then you went 2025, 73%, and this year, 6 months, 165% is outsold the Blazer EV. I mean, what is that?
I do think, even though I brought it up, and I'm a big CarPlay proponent, but, I don't think you can attribute all of that to, for one thing, Honda, that's the only EV they have. GM has, they have the Equinox, but they've also got Blazers, they've got Bolts, so you could be going to a GM dealer and, buy some other car, and that's not getting counted in this. So I don't think you could take that comparisons in that article numerically. But I'm sure that there are people that I see it online all the time. Like, no CarPlay, I'm not buying it, and that's how I feel.
Okay, speaking
and this article does put some numbers on that. Like, okay, it just says the numbers don't contradict that. I mean, it does just seem totally crazy. Like, why would you not give customers a choice? I don't think Apple is charging very much, if anything, for CarPlay. So, it's just, the thing is, they think, oh, if we want that information, we want, the customer's map information and all that. We want it. So it's just, this is the same as the Walmart story with currency.
Yep.
And I think it's going to have the same outcome at some point, in 2032 or something, if we're still doing MacVoices, and it'll be like, hey, why do you think GM gave up on not having CarPlay? Gee, they finally caved. I think it's going to be exactly the same outcome. And it's all the same reasoning from the corporate people, and it's the same sort of pig-headed, like, we want to own your information, even though that's not what customers want.
They don't care.
We keep talking about CarPlay in the car, but to me, it's a larger consideration, because we're talking about using my iPhone in the car, and yes, there are ways I can jury rig an iPhone to play music in the car, or just play through its speaker or whatever. But just the whole integration with the fact that I can start something somewhere else, listening to it, whether it's a podcast, music, whatever.
Of course.
Move it to the car, continue listening there, turn off the car, take it with me, and keep on going. And
absolutely.
That doesn't.
And I sit at my desk and plan out trips in Apple Maps on my desktop, and then when I hop in the car, it's already there, and the car's like, oh, let's start on your trip. I didn't even put the trip on my phone. I just did it on my desk, which is obviously much nicer to do route planning on a 32-inch screen than on a phone, or certainly not in the car. It's like, oh, well, so I'm not going to think about my trip planning until I actually get in the car. No.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm behind Eric.
Well, that was from back a ways.
I'm sorry. That was okay.
I'm good.
Okay. Sorry about that. Webb.
I'm still waiting to see what GM's next move is. I was under the impression, and Jim, you may know the answer to this, but I thought that GM really wanted to. It's kind of like Apple. They wanted to control the whole widget. But I don't know if they've put out anything that's compelling as far as what their infotainment system is in their car. That's been any kind of the big move yet.
Well, they're just using Android Auto.
Well, I thought they were just using part of that platform, but I didn't think it was Android Auto in and of itself. It was a specialized version that GM had. I haven't seen it yet, so
it's not. Android Auto is not the Android version of CarPlay. What is that called? It's got a different name. So there's a thing where you can use your Android phone to do projection, which is the same as CarPlay. Uses your iPhone as projection. But there's also Android Auto is where you don't have to have a phone at all in the car, and the car all by itself has an Android CPU inside of it, and it will do maps and all this other stuff without a phone at all.
So it's kind of like the Tesla in that regard.
Yes.
It has its own cellular communication, all that. And like I said, go ahead.
Tesla did their own software. GM is using Google. Volvo did the same thing, except Volvo does allow CarPlay, and I think it's Android Auto is the projection one, and Android Automotive is the one that's built into the car, which is just confusing as heck.
That's some great naming right there.
Yeah.
I don't know who does this. Again, I'm with you, Jim, to an extent. For everybody here, in fact, Barry may get the last word here in the chat room because he said, same for me. No CarPlay, no CarPay. So
a lot of people say that online.
Barry, that should be a t-shirt. I feel like it's a little bit tone deaf when you see the market share that the iPhone has and you're telling people, no, you can't use it. You're not even giving them the option.
And Tesla and Rivian are doing the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So stay tuned. More CarPlay drama coming soon.
I agree with Jim, though, that I think it's going to be like Walmart all over again. Sooner or later, GM's going to come around. I think they're going to be forced to because I think the consumer demand is going to be there for it. So, especially if they charge for their platform too. So,
right, they're charging extra.
Yeah, yeah. I put an article in here. Apple may be onto something by approaching their direct retail customers first. The last time we were together for MacVoices, we had a lot of discussion about the discontinuing of the iPhone upgrade program and what was replacing it and how you could buy your phone and all. And I think this article is worth a look because it pointed out some things I really hadn't thought about as to why Apple seems to be courting its most loyal customers first on some of this. And so if you've read it, then there may be a point of discussion. If not, I just encourage anybody to take a look at it if you're interested in that. If you really don't care and you're going to slap down cash for it, or you've already made up your mind on how you're going to purchase it, fine. Yeah, but it is something that's very different. Another one I wanted to bring up, this is one of those PSA maybe a PSA, maybe not, but Gmail is going to stop their send as feature come January 1st. And this article gives you an idea, including Apple Mail, of the best apps to use after that feature goes away. I know I've got to look at this hard because I manage multiple email addresses in Gmail, and I love the fact that I can do it and I'm replying from that very same email address. And so if you're not aware that this is going away, be aware. It may not apply to you. Does anybody else use Gmail to manage their email here, guys? Dave, I thought you did.
Not the Gmail app. Nope. I use mostly Outlook that I use it on at work as well as at home. So,
okay. Jim, I thought you raised your hand. You're muted, Jim.
Sorry, my wife was talking to me. Yeah, I do use Gmail, and I haven't seen the story. Looking for the link now.
Yeah, it's macvoices.com/show notes. But yeah, it's something that you just may want to pay attention to, and anybody else out there.
Just for what it's worth, I just have one Gmail account, and my wife has one too. But I'm for different reasons, we're all kind of forced to have a Google account of some kind. I have it because I also have Google Fiber as my internet service provider. So I just got to have it anyway. So I don't use this feature. I quite honestly, I use the Apple Mail in my old .Mac email address as my primary personal email. So, and I've been very happy with it, and may the force be with me.
All right. It's not often I do this. I'm going to do a lead in to the thing I want to talk about, but I'm posting, and I'm not going to start doing this very often, but I just posted a link to the YouTube chat. I will throw it into our private chat. This is a video from Gary Vaynerchuk, that is 15 years old. And it rings true today. And and he explains it a little bit. But he says that marketers ruin everything. And I'm feeling like that's really gotten to be more and more true in all aspects of my life. Now, Ars Technica posted an article that ads and tracking infiltrated TVs. Now they're coming for your monitors. That LG is building in ads to their monitors.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Jeff, I read this and I was stunned. I mean, who thinks this is a good idea? And is corporate America going to allow ads in the monitors they purchase for their people?
No. But the thing is, does it have to? I didn't read this article through. Does it have some sort of smart TV type of mechanism that does this? I mean, how do you do it I mean, I've got this Dell monitor. I don't see any way it's going to be able to do that to me. They got firmware maybe, but what could they do to actually run these ads? I'd be curious.
Well, Dave, I mean, I obviously this is not something that can be retroactively implemented, but it can definitely be put in now and going forward. And so, I just wonder if somebody's testing the waters just because they think they can. But LG of all people, I would have expected somebody much lower profile to take a shot at this. But yeah, it's amazing. It was truly amazing.
Yeah, there is an app. So it says LG Monitor App Installer. It's on Microsoft Store. And the app can use all system resources and access your internet connection. Why would you install this app?
I'll tell you why you would install the app. And it's because at some point, the display manufacturer will require their app to be installed to unlock the display so you can use it.
Right. Because there are smart monitors too. I mean, I have a Samsung behind me, a 32-inch does have the smart monitor. I think it's the Odyssey. I forgot what model it was, but I've completely turned that off because I do that on my TVs too. I just can't stand using that. I have an Apple TV. I'm happy with that, and that's all I want to use. But sometimes these TV manufacturers are going to start. I'm getting a new Sony, a couple of days, another day here, and I'm going to be curious to see how that goes. Because I haven't had a Sony for like ever, and how's that going to work with the same thing with these monitors? I don't. TVs, I understand because people don't want to have a Roku, they don't want an Apple TV device they have to connect to, but you get better results out of that. I just don't find the smart TV apps to be very friendly. But in the case of this, why would I want them to collect information just like what they do in the smart TVs?
I have a friend that I helped set up a Google TV from TCL. Great TV, except for the fact that, let's see, year and a half later, still can't get it to load Google TV right. So we ended up putting a Fire TV stick on it and having it boot from that, and it's fine. Now
I think the Sony has Google TV. Now I'm thinking about it when I was shopping for it. So
yeah,
I'm not using it.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
and look, you're trading one devil for the other devil, but at least it's the devil that works.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe a silly question, but why would I connect my monitor directly to the internet?
There's that.
I
Because of
think that
upgrades?
goes back to what I said earlier, which is I could see monitor manufacturers requiring an app on your computer to enable the monitor to work, to unlock it so you can actually use it. And then part of that process then feeds data back out through the monitor.
The problem with that is, okay, so then they're going to come up with this app for all platforms, for all versions of all platforms.
I didn't say it's a good plan.
There's no monitor company I know that could pull that off, even if they wanted to. It's just like, printer drivers and scanner drivers, what a nightmare. So if they did that, they'd probably have, I noticed this first part of this story, it's not really the monitor that's doing the ad, it's that the monitor driver installed something on Windows. So, that was never a Macintosh problem. And it's really just, hey, there's an app that's doing something it shouldn't do. happens to connect to a monitor, but that's really not the monitor's fault. And other than that, it's like, maybe there's, I guess maybe if they drastically reduce the price, some people might be interested, but who's going to want a monitor that they have to connect to the internet? And if it goes through an app on the computer, as you say, well, then that it's still going to have a two-way connection between the monitor and the computer. I don't believe, things like HDMI and DisplayPort aren't really two-way. Well, maybe they are, because you can have cameras. But, then what? Are they going to have Linux drivers? Or are they just going to say, oh, we don't care about the Linux market. We probably don't care about the Mac market. Oh, what if you're going to plug this monitor into your iPad? Can't monitors be plugged into some phones now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Jim, it's at some point they're just going to target, the low hanging fruit, and the low hanging fruit.
None of those people are watching this show.
No, you're right. But
we only have high quality people watching the show that aren't going to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Only the
highest
best
high quality
here.
fruit.
Yeah. The highest quality people are in the chat room. So
not just the chat room, the entire audience.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they make the extra effort to come and listen to this nonsense.
Exactly.
So
they're the best. We have the best audience.
We do.
It's so great to be here in Detroit tonight.
Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices, or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.